Welcome to the Norris Group Real Estate Podcast, a show committed to bringing you insights from thought leaders shaping the real estate industry. In each episode, we'll dive into conversations with industry experts and local insiders, all aimed at helping you thrive in an ever-changing real estate market, continuing the legacy that Bruce Norris created, sharing valuable knowledge, and empowering you on your real estate journey. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a newcomer, this is your go-to source for insider tips, market trends, and success strategies. Here's your host, Craig Evans.
All right, welcome everybody to the Norris Group Real Estate Podcast. This week, I'm Joey Romero, and this week we are doing something a little new. We're going to be doing once a month a investor club, REIA, association kind of roundtable. I don't even know what I'm going to call it yet. So maybe you guys can help us out as an audience, what we should call this show. So we'll take comments for a couple weeks, but the goal is to highlight the clubs that are in your area, pick their brains about what is going on in the industry, what strategies are working, what pivots they're making, and kind of what they're hearing on boots on the ground. From real investors, and maybe we can all learn from. So I'm going to introduce them one at a time, and then we'll just jump right in. So ladies first, today we have with us Christina Suter, longtime Pasadena FIBI leader and a club owner. Christina, good to have you today.
Joey, thanks so much for inviting me. I really, really appreciate it. Love the Norris Group. Love the work that you guys do. I've invited you guys many, many times to my meeting because I think it's just so powerful. One of the primary things as a club run I really want to do is be able to support my community, develop community. One of the things I say every time I start my club is it's not the money that you're making that actually makes you successful in real estate. It's the community that you have that brings you deals and the win-win that you can create. Because this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. So my name is Christina Suter. I've been investing in real estate for 35 years. I started when I was 17. Okay, it looks like I started when I was 2 months old, but actually I started when I was 17. And that makes me in my 50s, and I've owned things primarily residential, single-family, multifamily. I've invested in 8 different states. I have flipped in 2 different states.
Not to cut you off, but we're going to get into that a little bit.
Okay, good. So, the focus on the club is FIBI Pasadena. We've been Oak Weeks around 2011, and we have about almost 6,000 members now in the greater LA area. We meet in Pasadena on the third Thursday.
All right. So our next guest is Mitch Craighead, and he is the new leader of NorCal REIA. He took over from longtime club owner David Granzella, and that happened last year. We did have a little podcast about that transition, but Mitch, welcome.
Awesome. It's amazing to be here. Thank you, Joey. I absolutely love the partnership that's been created between the Norris Group and NorCal REIA over the years, and stepping into that and taking the torch from the great man, David Granzella. Absolutely an honor. We're NorCal REIA, established in 2004, and I took over the club after celebrating 20 years of growth and giving back to real estate investors through David Granzella. So again, it's an honor to have taken that torch and then to be able to give back to the community here.
And last, our great initial show is Rich Rice with the Fire Center. Rich.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Joey. Thanks for having us on. The Fire Center really just became about from kind of like an evolution of the REIA concept. We decided that we were tired of going to hotels and restaurants and lugging all the equipment and everything. So we just decided to get our own place. And then it kind of evolved from there. We wanted to focus on, different meetings and kind of grow those individually. So we're actually like 5 clubs in one now, all hosted under the Fire Center brand here in Riverside. We have our own 4,000 square foot facility that we do 15 meetings a month out of now. And it's really focused on, like, Christina said, and Mitch said, on building that community, we call it tribe building that tribe of financial allies to hopefully, grow wealth together and, accomplish goals and outside of just real estate and friends and all that. So excited to be here. It's been fun doing, collabs with the Norris Group over the years, and we're excited for what's coming.
Awesome. So I'm gonna start this a little different. And this whole idea came because one of my favorite parts of being part of the Norris group was going with Bruce to when he spoke at your clubs, and going there and seeing everybody and hanging out and having dinner and just meeting all the investors, boots on the ground. And I really miss that. So maybe we'll get back to that a little bit, when Craig figures out what he's going to be teaching on here coming up in the near future. But I'm gonna start out with an icebreaker. So I'm gonna go the other way this time. So Rich, you'll be the first to answer. So what is an item in your wallet that either means a lot to you or is just simply interesting? And I'll go last. So why don't you go first?
I guess probably the item in my wallet that's interesting is I don't actually carry a wallet. I have it all built in. I have like 4 credit cards and my cell phone holder here. And I always get people like asking, dude, aren't you like paranoid that you're going to lose it? And I'm like, no, because it's really my wallet and my phone. And so I feel like I'm extra careful about it. So I got my ID and like 3 cards. Makes it really easy. I don't have to have, like a wallet separate for me. But as I have more companies and more credit cards that I have to carry, it's becoming increasingly difficult to fit them all into this little slot. So ask me that question a little bit later in a year from now, and I might have a wallet again.
All right. Mitch, same question.
I'm a rich guy. Rich, you and I are one and the same. I got the cards in the phone, high risk. But I don't have 2 things that I would be devastated if I lost one or the other. I just have one thing to take really, really good care of. But I will tell you, people are like, well, don't you want to carry cash, But you have a secret compartment in here, and I pop it off a little bit, and you got to keep a couple $100 right in the back of the phone case. So, Rich, I don't know if you're doing that, but it works great for me when I need it.
I might have done it a long time ago and forgot. Let's see. Nope.
It's not there. Right, time to replenish it. That's the emergency fund.
I like the idea.
There you go. All right. Now, not to be, I don't know what the word is nowadays, but all right. What is in your wallet or your purse?
Yes, I understand the word you were not saying. So I used to carry exactly what the other 2 gentlemen had. I used to carry a phone that had a wallet in the back of it that popped open. So I could carry my driver's license and my credit cards. And I used to hide a $100 bill inside my case. So I had cash, because you always got to have mad money. I give mad money to my daughter every time like she travels. And they're like, okay, here's $100. Keep that in your mad money place. And then she brings it back, which is great, because rarely does she need it. I now carry a little clutch purse, if you want to call it that, which has a little makeup in it and a little bit of a comb and stuff like that. But what's most important in that little clutch purse is this little white cube. It's just literally a little white stone cube that my daughter gave me. So I carry that because it reminds me of my value in my life and my focus.
Awesome. All right. So my item is I carry a guitar pick in my wallet, and not a lot of people get to see it. And when they do, they're like, "Why do you carry a guitar pick?" And my answer is just almost like a joke, but it's just like, because you never know when you need a rock.
Oh, I love it.
That's why I carry mine. All right, so let's get into the heavy hitting question. So now we all know where you guys are from, but I want to get into the demographics of who's the investor that's showing up at your meeting. So Mitch, tell us about the mix of people. Is it inexperienced? Is it really experienced? Like, tell us about those demographics.
Yeah, Joey, we have a really broad mix of different investors and of different experience levels. A lot of the investors that will come to us are newer, and they want to grow. They want to find their first deal. They want to find their second deal. They've had some success in one area. They want to. So if they've done a wholesale deal or 2, but they want to flip, and they want to learn how to do that and create and join a bigger community. A lot of people are led to us from that, either through referrals or from finding us online. So, and then we have a wide range of real estate strategies, from wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, short-term rental, midterm rental, property for business, like sober living, senior care facilities and things like that. So it really is. That's the one thing I absolutely love about this community is that there's so much to learn and so much that we can bring people, whether we're the experts or not. We can go out and we can source, and even through our direct community or further away from us, outside of our region, where we can bring really talented people to come in and give guidance on those things. So really, we have a very broad audience and membership group.
Christina, what kind of demographics do you guys have?
Similar to Mitch, where I would say for the longest time, well, it's shifted recently a little bit. So let me just talk about what generally has been and then how it's shifted recently. So we kind of have three pieces. We have a lot of people who are new or who want to get into real estate. And that's going to be over 50% of our audience is that.
Wow.
And if I cultivate it right, I'll get a quarter to a third of my audience that I consider to be people who are either long-time investors or professionals in the field. People who are wholesalers, people who are flippers, they're real estate agents, they're lawyers, they do, chattel, whatever it is. And so I want to have that section of professionals in the field to serve my newer investors. And those professionals come because I have newer investors that they can serve. So it's a way of them developing business together. I will call out people in the room intentionally, like, hey, who's really good at debt? Oh, you're really good at managing debt, or you currently buy and sell non-performing notes. That's somebody in the room, right? To be able to encourage them to come for marketing reasons. And then now both my meetings, I run both FIBI Pasadena and I run ITI Glendale, and we have a couple other ITI meetings that we've helped found.
What does ITI mean?
Investor to Investor. It's a sister club. I took my FIBI Pasadena multifamily and I rebranded it to ITI, Investor to Investor. And then we opened 2 other chapters for students. And so we have about 10 to 15 people who are volunteers in the room, and they're involved in our leadership program. And so that actually helps, because part of being speakers to our audience is also bringing them to our team. And these are people that really want to be investors, and they're willing to donate their time to get deeper into the education about investing.
So, Rich, now you just talked about you run all kinds of different meetings. Is everybody showing up to the same thing, or do certain meetings, you get a whole different segment of investors because it is a different topic, or how does that work?
That's a good question. We have, we definitely have the diehards that come to pretty much every meeting. A lot like Mitch and Christina's and other REIAs out there, we tend to attract newbies, but we also have a really good mix of, veterans and, people that have been doing it for a long time, and then everywhere in between. So to answer your question about, with the different meetings, each one kind of has its own focus. So on that newer person or more experienced, we have, this one, SoCal Exchangers, is our Wednesday 2 to 4 one. That one was built around people doing deals. So we really did set out to attract people that were at least, actively doing deals. Come bring your deals, come bring your money, we'll put the money to work kind of deal. People kind of like a haves and wants meeting mixed with, a deal making whiteboard kind of meeting. And it's doing really well. We get probably 60, 70 people a week coming to that meeting on Zoom and on live. And we do about 10, 15 deals a meeting. So it's just, connecting the dots for people, and then people that are brand new, they get to come in and get kind of a crash course on all this stuff live in front of them instead of just theory, and then for the more advanced people, we do, since we have our own facility, we do classes. So once a month, I try and do a weekend class, either me or some of our other, people that are experienced, or I try and bring in outside speakers. Last year we had John Schaub and Peter Fortunato over the summer. And, I'm always trying to find some other people to do more classes. And then I fill in kind of with my own too. I'm doing a React thing coming up. So that's generally more the advanced people that are coming to those.
That leads me to my next question, which was going to be, what is your educational focus? So thank you for answering that question. Mitch, what are you guys doing as far as education? Is it just mainly the speakers, or do you guys actually hold specific education, seminars or classes?
Yeah, we are holding specific seminars, educational classes. The development of that is a little bit in its infancy. One of the first things that I did when I took over NorCal REIA was create a private community where people can exchange information, have a community calendar, and increase the number of events that we were able to hold for people. A lot of them are kind of like those whiteboard sessions where we're able to hold a Zoom, and some people can bring on whatever challenges they're having, and we try to facilitate the rest of the group to help solve those problems and keep someone's deal moving forward. Or of course, we'll jump in and try to provide best next steps. So some examples of that. Yesterday from noon to 1, we had a REI acquisitions think tank is what we call it. So someone trying to essentially go direct to seller best practices and direct to seller negotiations. If you're hung up at a certain part of negotiating a deal, or essentially getting something under contract, or if something is under contract and falling apart, and how we can get it back on track for them. We also have a Women of NorCal REIA. So we have a ladies group that meets once a month as well. And we also have a direct-to-agent acquisitions think tank, similar to the direct-to-seller think tank, where you can come on and learn best practices on how to find deals through growing a network of real estate agents who can help bring you deals and negotiations therein, because they're both very, very different. So a couple of examples of what we're doing there. Nice. On top of our monthly speakers.
Nice. Christina, I know you've been a personal coach and you've personally mentored a lot of individuals, but what is the club doing to focus on education?
Yeah, not a problem. So FIBI, the FIBI brand, for investors by investors, is really focused around sort of a non-profit philosophy. So we actually don't sell a lot of courses or anything through that FIBI brand. So as part of the creation of ITI was we both have our ITI meeting. We have ITI Glendale, ITI Cindy of Industry, and ITI El Norte. Those other two are run by students of mine, and they're students in the personal growth workshop, the mindset stuff, the leadership program, advanced leadership program, and Shape Your Future. And we also teach real estate classes through ITI. So in cash flow investing, out-of-state investing, residential investing, and this year we do multifamily investing. Last year we had a guest speaker, Carmine Sabatella, and he talked about how to flip high-end homes in Southern California. So we had that educational program as well.
That's really great to hear, because I think a lot of times people make create monsters in their own head. Like, well, I'd like to go to that, but they're all going to be, they all know each other. It's all going to be a clique, and they're not going to be very inclusive. What am I going to? I'm just starting out, so this is really great to hear that you guys all have, space for any type of investor that whether you're just starting out or, the most seasoned investor. What is, Rich, I'll start with you. What is the biggest concern that you're hearing from, investors, boots on the ground?
I think the number one concern is always that 4-letter word, fear, of just like you just said, fear that they're going to get there and people are going to laugh at them, or that, they're not going to find a deal. They're going to spend all this time. A lot of people have gone to, unfortunately have gone to some kind of guru seminar and spent a ton of money. So they got a little bit of fear of that somebody else is going to take advantage of them. That's what we see that is the biggest roadblock for people. Or, just the fear of not knowing enough, and they, of not getting out there and making offers, or getting out there and driving for dollars, or door knocking. They want to have like all their ducks in a row and understand the whole process from A to Z before they'll even have a conversation with somebody. And that's the number one thing on some of our boot camps and some of the classes is like, just get people having the conversations and don't worry about the rest. We'll help you once you get there. So.
Yeah, just get people learning. I mean, it really, part of the learning, Rich, you said it so well, part of the learning is being able to specifically take a class, but part of the learning is being able to just get people into action. Like, how do we get people into action? And if you're afraid to do it by yourself, you have people right here in the club who either are experts who are already doing it, or you have other people who are interested in doing what you're doing as a newbie. And that's part of what clubs can create inside the community, is the sense of empowering them to get more done, be able to invest, be able to take a smaller pool of money, make it bigger, take their particular skill set and match it with somebody else's. Real estate is not an independent sport. It's very much a team sport, and you almost require it.
Exactly.
Mitch, what's the biggest concern of investors in the Northern California region?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Like the convincing yourself of the certainty that this industry works. It's huge. I'd also say people are a little scared of the real estate landscape as it is today. They're scared of inventory issues. If you're a flipper, they're concerned that their last flip, they executed it to a T and they didn't make any money on it. They're concerned about the future. There's still that uncertainty factor. You've got a lot of things in the political landscape that are kind of fueling those thoughts too. Social media does an incredible job of scaring people to death into non-action, and it really does.
Or doing such a great job of showing you, look at how awesome I am. Oh, yeah. You'll never be able to do what they do, right?
And there's that as well. Yeah. There's always that someone that's super successful or shows it, they look like they're super successful, right? And they don't, and they're only showing what went great with every deal that they've done, and not all of the challenges. But I would say just general uncertainty is kind of an underlying theme. Like, I'm scared. That fear is partially driven through uncertainty in the real estate space right now. So
who has been the most dynamic speaker that you've had in the last 12 months, Christina?
Well, I of course was going to say Bruce, but I haven't had him in the last 12 months. So I one of the speakers I enjoy getting is Neil Bawa, because Neil is the mad scientist of real estate. And so he always does economics, and he does a lot of it, and it's very densely packed in his presentation. He's coming in April. I had him last year in April as well, happened to be. And I like having him because I'm just I didn't get the Bruce Norris memo in 2006, 7, and 8. I didn't get the memo. So therefore I am now all over economics, and I lost more than 2/3 of my net worth in that downturn.
No. Well, we talk about successes.
Christina. No. Let's talk about reality. Let's talk about reality in real estate. The reality of real estate is that deals go wrong. The reality of real estate is being able to think on your feet well enough to be able to solve problems. That's actually how you get the most success in real estate, is being willing to be a problem solver. And being, and working in community, right? Those are the things that you need. So the most
and not quitting, right?
And not quitting, right? We've all been up against it. If you've been investing for a while, you know that not quitting and that having that grit is one of the things that carries you forward. So the most interesting presenter, I would say, is Neil Bawa. I've had lots of other good and solid presenters. Like I had Spartan Investments down here, Scott Lewis. I enjoyed having him as well because he's very grounded and very meticulous in his presentation. So you're always looking for somebody who's both good at talking and good at their content.
There you go. Rich, who's been the most dynamic speaker? And I know you already name dropped a couple of legends.
We did.
So who's been your most dynamic speaker in the last 12 months?
In the last 12 months, I have to say John Schaub, on having him come out and doing his buying a house, one house at a time, that he doesn't do all that often. So it was really, I've seen him talk in Vegas at Masters. I've seen him talk with Pete that he does every year in Florida. Seeing John on stage, for 2 full days was a real treat. I wish he would have let me record it, but
he did it though.
Old guys don't want to record.
No. And then aside from that, we had a really good we call it Wealth on Wheels in December. We had Fair Lane, Andy Teasley, and Adrian Smoot out as a trio. As our first 3-day trio class. And you had Andy there, who's been doing it a long time, and then Adrian, who's been doing it probably about half the time, and then Farrah, who's been doing about half the time of that. So it was really good to see all three of those perspectives and teach people how to go after mobile homes, and really ramp that up quickly. And on that fear part, it's one of those things of those you tell somebody you could pick up a flip for $10,000 or less, and turn around and make 50, and it's happening right in your backyard. That really gets people's minds going, because the biggest thing that we run into for new people is like, how am I going to go buy a house for $500,000?
Yeah, the barrier to entry is a little steep in California.
So they hear that about the mobile homes, and it's like, oh, wow, okay, so
Yeah,
that's cool.
Mitch, who's been your most dynamic speaker?
Gosh, you really got my wheels turning, and I'm glad I'm going last because I had some time to really think about it. A couple of different speakers come to mind, and the reason it's a couple of them is because they present in different ways. But Michael Zuber joined us in November of last year, and he just gave so much content, actionable items. That absolute incredible speaker. I don't know if you're familiar with Michael, but one rental at a time. He is from the Bay Area, but invested in Fresno and has since moved to Vegas, investing out there and still in Fresno. Awesome speaker. And then actually last month, we had Brent Daniels, who's a wholesale coach and who just brings incredible energy, absolute incredible energy. And he was able to get really vulnerable with us and talk about the hard times in real estate, not just the great times. Really pump my members up for what the potential is, but talk about the hard times and where he came from. So that was really great. And I'm most excited probably for actually this evening. We're hosting our monthly meeting is on Zoom with Jerry Norton, and we're really excited to have him join us this evening. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things, my favorite parts of doing I Survive Real Estate or any of those, even the podcasts, when they get so real that our guests, our speakers are just moved to tears, and it just takes them back. I mean, you guys were all there when Bill Allen's talking about his wife wanted to divorce him.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa, that was like so real. Anyways, all right, so let's have a little fun with this. If you could have anybody throughout history, dead or alive, as a speaker for your next meeting, who would that be? Rich, we'll start with you.
The all of history.
All of history.
I'm a big fan of Marcus Aurelius and meditations. I think a lot of this, aside from real estate, is a lot about mindset. And I would love to just have him, present on just being on stoicism and just keeping it real, And
I think you'd really like Jordan Peterson if you're not familiar with him already.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, him too. That's a more modern approach. Yeah, probably get him. Probably at the top of the list. But yeah, that mindset piece is a big deal, and even more so than the real estate in a lot of ways.
That's really cool. All right, Mitch, who would you have throughout history? Who would be your?
Well, this person's alive. I've had the pleasure of seeing them speak multiple times. But if I could give the gift to my club of this person spreading their knowledge and their motivational language, it'd probably be Ed Milet. Ed Milet is just an incredible human being.
Let's make it happen, Ed. Come on.
Let's go, Ed. I know you're watching. But he has done a lot of mindset shifts for me. His book, Power of One More, is one of those books that has changed my life in so many great ways. And it'd definitely be Ed Milet. At least living. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Christina, come on, bring it.
Well, I was going to say Brendan Bouchard, who works with Ed Milet, right? He does Growth Day. I love him because Ed is an amazingly powerful, inspiring speaker. Specifically, he knows what he's doing when he's creating with his audience. I love watching him and his style of speaking. Brendan is just somebody who's sort of just joyful. And he's joyful because of the work he's done. So that's one of my speakers would be him, Brendan Bouchard. And the other for me would be either Ken McElroy or Rod Khleif, because neither one of them aren't necessarily interested in creating drama. Right? Ken McElroy in particular, I was like, no, this is the way it's going to work. This is the economy. This is what it's doing. This is what I'm doing. He's very grounded. He's very simple about what he's bringing forward, and yet he manages. I don't know how big his fund is, whether it's at $500 million or $1 billion is the size of his current fund. And I really appreciate that he's not into looking good or making it bigger than it needs to be. This is just how it functions. And I like that simplicity. I admire it.
All right, I'll jump in on this one. For me, if I could have like one guest right now, I think it would be Kevin D. Brown. I don't know if you guys have ever read the book Unleashing Your Hero. I got to see him when I went to Florida as part of the Collective Geniuses quarterly meeting, and he was the keynote speaker right after Bruce. And I had read his book leading up to it, and a lot of you guys know I walk every day now, and I listen to books, and his book was the only book that, like, thank goodness I was wearing sunglasses. I was literally crying when he has this thing where he talks about when you doubt yourself, you shouldn't see yourself in the mirror. You should see all the people that have poured anything into making you become the person that you are, and remembering what they did for you and just being grateful and getting yourself out of that doubt. And the overall goal is to become one of those people that when they look for that person that pours into, whose mirror are you going to show up in? And to me, it just reminded me of Aaron. And
yeah.
When that happens, like, I'm like a baby, I guess. But it just, that was really impactful. So Kevin D. Brown. Kevin, I know we're connected on LinkedIn. Let's get you on the podcast. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Norris Group's Real Estate Podcast. Be sure to tune in next week. And also make sure to leave us some comments about what we should name this Real Estate REIA Roundup Meetup podcast.
For more information on hard money loans, trust deed investing, and upcoming events with the Norris Group, check out thenorrisgroup.com. For more information on passive investing through the DBL Capital Real Estate Investment Fund, please visit dblcapital.com.
The Norris Group originates and services loans in California and Florida under the California DRE license 01219911, Florida Mortgage Lender license 1577, and NMLS license 1623669. For more information on hard money lending, go to thenorrisgroup.com and click the hard money tab.